Namaste everyone. Welcome to again a new series, a new journey where we're going to witness something new and a very special occasion of the Vijayadashmi and the Vidyarambham, what happens in the Indian culture, and Dashera also is celebrated all over the India. So on this auspicious day, we all gathered here. So happy Vijayadashmi, happy Dashera to one and all. And on this auspicious occasion, we're going to start today a new journey of Gitananda Yoga Chikitsa. And before starting, let us invoke the Gayatri mantra, the Ganesha Gayatri, followed by Saraswati Gayatri, followed by Guru Gayatri. And as all of us know, the Gayatri mantra is a very auspicious mantra, the mantra of righteousness, where the Gaya is the Pran and Taya is the Tran. Pran means to protect or who protects. So the mantra which protects the prana and in the form of the Lord Ganesha, in the form of Ma Saraswati, and the gurus who lead us to the darkness to the light for the righteous path of the self growth and upliftment. So with these words, let us invoke the Ganesha Gayatri. Om तद्गणेशाय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयाते ॐ वीणगानाय विद्महे वृञ्चपत्नी च धीमहि तन्नः सरस्वती प्रचोदयाते ॐ तत्परम्परयाय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयाते ओम योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरी गुरु महाराज की जय। ओम पुद्वै कल्पामणि पुद्वै शक्ति योगाचारिणी अम्मा जी मीनाक्षी देवी भवनानी गुरु माता की जय। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। So again, I welcome you all on this introductory session, inaugural session of the Gitananda Yoga Chikitsa. And I am very happy to share with you that this is one of a kind, a very special, and with the grace of the Gurus that we all are here together on this auspicious day of the Vijayadashmi. And what I believe is like there are no coincidences, and we are here. That means something, and it is meant to be here. That's why we are here. And with the one objective that we all share, be together to learn something new and to learn something very innovative in a way where we are going to understand the deep aspects of yoga and yoga chikitsa and the therapy that we all see around. And at the modern time, when we just try to go into the symptoms, the disease, or the we go neglect the person, and we just try to go into the disease oriented perspective or disease oriented solutions. So there is a need, and yoga has that solution, and yoga chikitsa provides that. And I have been in this journey in a very small span of time, and I have experienced that these uh, things that we are all here together, and the therapy that we are going to understand has a very deep rooted aspects, and the need of the hour has to be given in a way where yoga chikitsa has to play its role. So in this small journey of time that I had, I understood that yoga has the capacity to dive into various aspects, various dimensions, the supportive, curative, and the palliative, and all other aspects. So, yoga therapy is very important. And before going into the main theme, and we are going to listen to Dr. Sir. I'd like to mention one of the story that we all have heard of, the king who has the three wives, and the very basic story which in which the king loved the third wife, and he did not like it or loved less the first wife. So there were three wives of the king. One who to whom he loved the most, the third wife. The second, who has sometime he loved and who used to help him, and the first one who he didn't like the most, but she was there for him every time. And the time when he was about to die, the first wife, who was not that beautiful or whom the king didn't want to live with, was with him till the last moment. And with that story, I just want to make the long thing short, that the first wife is the none other than the soul, the atma. The second wife is the manas, or the mind that we have, and the third wife is the body. And we are, the gist or the moral of the story is more about, like, we are more attached to the body and we neglect the rest others. And with this story, I just want to bring about the concept of the yoga chikitsa, where the human body is not only the gross one, but the subtle and the causal aspects as well. And here this is an opportunity to learn something new. And I must tell you that these teachings are eternal, uh, and not everyone gets the opportunity to learn in a very vast and deep manner. And these are sacred knowledge that we must know in some way or the other, because this is an opportunity to uh, dive into something deeper, very sacred. And uh, uh, and we are here, and that it itself resembles that there is a need of the patrata or the yogita that everybody that the knowledge seeks. And no, and there are many courses in yoga therapy, yoga chikitsa, and there are billions of people all over the world, but we all are here together. So that means something. And there is something that I have understood, that all are invited but few are chosen. I heard somewhere, I read somewhere. And also, there are no coincidences in our life. So we all are here to learn something new. And one more thing I have realized, that these teachings are required to be shared through a medium. And with Dr. Sir and the Parampara, and I being the coordinator of the course and all, like, it is an honor to be here, and we all are here together sharing these teachings. It's an honor, and uh, we all it is very privileged to be a part of this journey. And we all know that the teachings through Dr. Ananda sir is very precious, and we all love to listen to him, and we all know him. And if you ever, any one of you have ever got the chance to meet him, uh, and you would like to meet him again and again and again and again, and it is like that. So this is the uh, quality of a Hitachi, the well-wisher, and he is here with us with a lot of sharings that the Parampara has, and he wants to offer something very innovative, something very precious, very sacred. And Dr. Ananda sir calls the yoga as the mother, and I believe him. And I have understood two aspects, or two very important components that he wanted with this course. As I have mentioned, that there are many courses out there, and the objective behind this course was that the one is that they create an authentic course where the authentic yoga chikitsa with firm foundations are needed, and people with those qualities are needed, with the firm foundations, like the guna karma swabhav, the chintan charitra vyavahar, the thoughts, character, behavior. So these are needed to be inculcated, built, established. So that is the need that I understood. And one more thing is, I understood there's a pain that Dr. Ananda sir has, that for the mother yoga, and there is appropriation, misappropriation all over the world, and there is a need of an where there is a need of a sangha. And just to say it again, there is a need of a sangha, and I didn't say it, there is a need of an army. There is a need of a sangha to help, not to fight. That's why it's not army, but to have a sangha to propagate these teachings with acknowledging the actual teachings of the parampara, the Indian culture, the agam, the gurus that they have taught us, and this the teachings of the Sanatan Dharma. So these are deep rooted in that traditions, and there is a need of the hour to build the teachings on those grounds. And the gurus and the rishis are all over there, and this wouldn't have been possible. That like once you are like I'm saying these words like it wouldn't have happened in any ways, but it is happening. So it is the will of the gurus, the rishis, who actually wanted this knowledge to be shared with many people, with uh, all the yoga aspirants, all the yoga teachers, yoga instructors, and many more who are listening and who will be listening to these words, and to propagate the actual teachings of yoga, because that is the need of the hour, and to preserve the culture, the heritage of the parampara, the tradition. And so, without taking much of the time, like I just want to invite Dr. Sir, but one more thing I would like to mention here. Uh, that I wouldn't have been here with all those things. I didn't know the parampara earlier, and I when I came to know about this parampara, I had experienced a lot of teachings. I experienced just to give an example. Recently, I had an event of just to give the physical benefits that I have understood. The running, the 10-kilometer running events that I have participated. I have participated in 25 kilometers of cycling, and the physical benefits are very easy to understand in those basic criteria, where I have experienced the practices of pranayam that we all have learned in the teachings of this parampara. The hatena is the very important the yogic practices that we learned in this parampara, the loma viloma kriya that we have. These all have benefited me in many ways, and I wouldn't have got this capacity until unless I have learned these teachings in this parampara. So this parampara has a lot of things to offer, and to make us understand in a deeper way, I would like to invite Dr. Sir to give us insight on these aspects. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Nilachal, for that extended introduction and for sharing, the connectivity that you have with the parampara and all of us. First of all, my wishes for each and every one of us on this auspicious day of Vijaya Dasami, the 10th day where Ma Devi destroys ignorance so that we can move from ajnana to jnana, from that thimira to that jyoti, a day where a lot of learning can be potentiated because it is a very auspicious time to learn. I think this opportunity that opened up that we could start with this session today is divine providence, and it is not coincidence, as Nilachal said, because there are no coincidences in the universe. Swamiji would say there are no accidents in the universe. All the pieces come together, and when the pieces come together, they know they are to be together because they feel wholesome. I was contemplating this morning because we did a very beautiful Homa Havan Yajna to inaugurate our new annex building of Yoganjali, and Anand Raj and Divya took charge of it and did the Homa with our Nataraj Pandit today. And as we were doing the Homa, I realized how fortunate we are. We are fortunate to be born human. We are fortunate to have opportunities to know about yoga, learn yoga, share yoga, practice yoga, live yoga. What greater opportunity, great fortune can anyone have? When you start to realize how fortunate you are, those blessings will grow in abundance. The abundant mindset is what Yoga Chikitsa is all about. The deficiency mindset is what disease is all about. And this is why the capacity to grow out of a deficiency mindset where we only see what we don't have, the limitations, we need to outgrow it. And this is why yoga transforms us. Yoga Chikitsa is not a fix, especially not a quick fix. It's not a quick fix, I'm sorry, but no. But what does it do? It enables us to regain the wholesomeness that we have lost. Why do I say regain? Because once upon a time we were wholesome. We were wholesome. We were Purnam, and we lose that Purnatvam and we become Apurat. Now, my dear Superman Pat, Maharishi Patanjali says Prakriti Apurat. Prakriti doesn't like things to be incomplete. Prakriti doesn't like you to be in pieces. And that is why nature, Mother Nature, is always trying to help us heal and regain that sense of wholesomeness. But like adamant children, we think we know better. And so Mother Nature says, rest. We say, no, I have a lot of work to do. Mother Nature says, go and exercise. And we say, no, I have a few more reels to watch on Instagram. Mother Nature says, here is nutritious food to sustain body, mind and spirit. And we say, no, I have to have my junk food from Big M, KFC, Swiggy, Zomato, plastic. Mother Nature says, here is yoga as a way of life. And we said, no, 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 it is going to be a keep fit exercise to develop yoga butts. That is why Yoga Chikitsa, for those of you who are signing up for this course, my apologies in advance. I'm not going to give you quick fixes. I'm not going to say, oh, these are the asanas that will cure diabetes. I'm not going to give you protocols to deal with cancer recovery. I'm not going to even give you solutions. But hopefully what I may do over the next 52 weeks is help you find that connection to the healing energy that lies within each and every one of us. I will attempt to facilitate that. I will attempt to help you find that inner voice, the Guru Hridaya Manas, who will guide you from within on what needs to be done to help those who are coming to you seeking care. I will not tell you how to care for somebody, but I'll help you connect to that voice within. At least I'll try. You know, one of the biggest issues with health, happiness, is, as Swamiji so beautifully puts it, health and happiness are our birthright. But we have forgotten our birthright because we have sold it for material plastic gains. And so many people run around saying, my goal in life is to be happy and healthy. For God's sake, that's not your goal. The goal is moksha. Happiness and health are your birthright. Reclaim them through yoga. Reclaim them. Reclaim your birthright. And then moksha is your goal. What is moksha? That regaining of wholesome oneness, that purnatvam. One of the things that pulls us apart is the Shatripus, the 6 enemies of the spirit, and Ammaji, with her amazing capacity for language. She said the Ripus rip us apart. They rip us apart, tear us apart. What a beautiful way to remember. Ripus rip us apart. They make us into pieces. And that is why we need the energy to put the pieces back together. This morning, we shared a beautiful video from Sannidhi that Anandi had conceptualized, where we had the Ripus as the demons, and then we had Mahishasura Mardini Devi vanquishing them. This year for the dance drama, we are going to again have the Ripus on stage December 27th, and Shiva vanquishing them. Many years ago at Yoga Anjali during the summer, Amma had the children learn about the Ripus and practices to work with them, and we had Giriraj, Shiva Shankari, Christoph, Sangeeta. We had this whole group of students who all came together and played the part of the Ripus, and the kids learnt about it. Why do you need to know about the Ripus? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Because they are all within us. They are the enemies within. So they are very difficult to find. Enemies outside are easy to find. The internal enemies are very difficult. Because often they masquerade as that inner voice. And this is why Yoga Chikitsa implies the application of the principles and practices of yoga. Do not think it is only the practices of yoga. And that is why it is not a fixed therapy using the practices. The philosophy of yoga, the psychology of yoga, the spirituality of yoga, the cultural ethos of yoga, all of that has to come together in order for us to understand what is the root cause that is making us piecemeal. That is what Yoga Chikitsa is. And this is why you cannot separate yoga from Yoga Chikitsa. Because if you separate yoga from Yoga Chikitsa, it is not Yoga Chikitsa anymore. Yoga therapy without yoga is therapy, not yoga therapy, because there's no yoga there. Today, in our desire to propagate, popularize these teachings, we often undermine the essential glue that holds it together, which is the philosophy, the psychology, the spirituality, and the cultural ethos of yoga. Without that, it cannot be Yoga Chikitsa. It is not just a set of asanas and pranayamas and yoga nidra, or call it eye rest and cardiac coherence breathing. No, it's not that. And this is why it is not easy when we approach Yoga Chikitsa. Because today, so many of us in modern medicine, we want to reduce it to another protocol. So cardiac rehabilitation program A, B, C, and there will be cardiac rehabilitation program Y, which is based on yoga. Y for yoga, in case you didn't get that. And make it a protocol. There is no standardized human being, thankfully. If there is no standardized human being, how can you have a standardized yoga therapy protocol? With apologies to the World Health Organization, Ministry of Ayush, IAYT and Indian Yoga Association, all these bodies, we are trying to have a standardized yoga therapy protocol for diabetes, for hypertension, for cancer, for insomnia. Sounds great. Sounds so great. So great. Yes, we will standardize protocol. To whom are you going to apply it? Where are you going to find that standardized human being who will look only one way, think only one way, sleep only one way, eat only one way? Even the American military generals didn't all look the same the other day when listening to their chief. Each one was trying to look differently because they didn't know what to do. You're not supposed to laugh, right? Very difficult. Even in the military, they are not the same. No two human beings, 7 billion plus, especially thanks to China and India. 7 billion plus human beings, and no two human beings have the same fingerprints. No two human beings have the same iris prints. No two human beings have the same genome. And forget about human beings. No two snowflakes are the same. No two blades of grass are the same. And you want a standardized yoga therapy protocol. Please understand how absurd this is. But because our modern medical model is, there is a protocol A, B, C for every disease, and you want yoga in the modern medical setting, we say you have to adopt a protocol. And this is where, over the next 52 weeks, you are going to find, I am not interested in giving you a list of practices for different conditions. What I am more interested in is that you developing the viveka to know what are the practices that will suit the individual who is coming to you seeking your care. That is what is more important for me. Can you have the viveka? Viveka is the only goal of yoga practice actually. The ultimate goal is moksha kaivalya. But along that way, viveka khyati is very important. Without viveka, you don't know what is sattva and what is purusha, says Patanjali. Yoganga anushtanat ashuddhikshaye jnana dipti aviveka kyatehe. He says that, then he says, even before giving you the 8 limbs, he says that, and then he starts. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhaya, ashtau angani. Because he says, if I tell them first, they will make a mess of it. Let me tell them why they need it. And still we made a mess of it. I firmly believe that human beings will make a mess of anything the divine gives us. We are great at making messes. Patanjali tried his best. He said, Baba, the reason I'm giving you the Ashtanga is for this. And still. So why do we have Yoga Chikitsa? We have Yoga Chikitsa not just to set right the bodily problems, not just to set right emotional volatility, not just to set right mental instability. We have yoga as a chikitsa to regain that sense of wholesome oneness, purnatvam. That is the only goal. Now you will say, someone coming to me with high blood pressure or high blood sugar is not interested in purnatvam. They want to lower the blood pressure. They want to lower the blood sugar. They want to get rid of the neck pain. Yes, they are in dukkha. So one of the immediate aspects of yoga chikitsa is dukkha nivrittihi, to negate dukkha, suffering. So yes, you will try to give them practices, you may give them philosophical concepts to help mitigate, ease the suffering. But don't stop with that. Because that is like my common metaphor I use, plugging the hole in the dam using tissue paper. Not going to solve the problem, okay? Putting a band-aid on a fractured bone. Not going to solve the problem, okay? It will cover the wound. It doesn't solve the problem. And this is why Swamiji's beautiful definition, which we will see in a few moments, because my dear Nilachal has prepared some beautiful slides that also we should share. But I couldn't control myself from saying this because, as I said the other day, I am not looking for students. I am not into building brand Ananda and having more students. That's not my goal. My goal is to share what I have been given by the parampara to the best of my knowledge. And those who are to receive it will receive it. Those who are not, well, it's not my problem. I'm not here to missionarize. I'm here to share. And as Nilachal pointed out, he got it a little confused. It is not the chosen few, but the few who choose. That is one of Swamiji's favorite statements. He said, it's not the chosen few, but the few who choose. And this parampara believes in giving the best we can to those who choose. Because the power of choice, by now all of you know it, is the superpower of being human. Nilachal, can you share the slides or you want me to share them so that you see this? We are going to have some amazing PowerPoints and you're all going to get them when we have it. I just love this, Nilachal. I already made it my Facebook cover page because it's just so beautiful with all the gurus there. Again, I just want to reiterate one point here. Nothing that I teach is mine in originality. Everything I share is that which the gurus are sharing through me. And this is said with deep humility because the moment I start to think that I am sharing or I am teaching, I will be making a lot of mistakes. So whenever I make a fool of myself in class, please know that it was my ego trying to be a bit, supercilious, because that is when that happens. And all of these gurus, Swami Kanakananda, Kambli Swamigal, every one of them have contributed so much. But, well, the man who really, really brought it all together is Swamiji. Because his genius of putting it all together, and then Amma's genius of giving structure to it. Truly, truly an amazing couple. And as Dr. John Mumford used to say, Dr. Ananda is born to two one-of-a-kind parents. And I think that is the best compliment I can have because each one of them is a one-of-a-kind and then you have two of them. No wonder there is pressure. And what does Swamiji say? If you want to be healthy, do healthy things. If you want to be happy, do happy things. I think this is one of the most common sense ways to live, yet we are not willing to take responsibility. We are not willing to do that. And that is why the Parampara's blessings are so important. And Vijayadasami reminds us of that. So this is a nice photo. This is one of the recent photos because Nilachal and I were struggling to find photos that he could share, and this is a nice one. Yes. Exactly. So that last line is what I would like to focus on. That we are looking at all this online learning, case studies and all of this to help us to heal. Now I'm going to reframe this a little bit because please understand, we are not the healer. We are not the healer. We are the facilitator. You know, nature heals. And I started off by saying that Mother Nature heals us. But in order to heal, we need patience. And patience is a virtue that not too many of us have, and I don't have at all. Impatience is one of my biggest struggles because of that. So we want to help the person heal. We are not interested in cure. Cure can happen, but healing is more important. And again, transform lives through authentic yoga chikitsa. Now again, I will give a disclaimer here. I am not claiming that only our tradition is authentic. Please understand, I will never make that claim. There are many authentic traditions. There are many authentic teachers. I am not at all saying only me. Please understand, it is never that at all. But I am striving to maintain the authenticity as much as I can. And I stand for that. Again, Swamiji's statement, which I have made earlier, and we take it forward. And yes, again, a very interesting point here. Some modern systems rely on textbooks and a written tradition for the authority. Yet yoga was never a written tradition, it was an oral tradition handed down from yoga rishi to disciple, who then perfected the physical, emotional, mental techniques for worldly well-being and the higher adhyatmika yoga techniques for spiritual development. So what Swamiji is saying is the written part is only the tip of the iceberg. And in one of my sessions sometime back, and I'm sure some of that we are going to replay as we go forward over the next 52 weeks, there are 3 traditions when we talk about the Guru Shishya Parampara. One is the written, the second is the oral, and then there is the third, which is the subtle tradition. People in modern times have forgotten the subtle tradition where you connect with the Parampara. Every time I share these teachings, I am connecting with the subtle Parampara. I am not repeating what I have memorized in a book, and I am not even repeated what somebody told me in class. That connection is the subtle Parampara. Now one has to be very careful because in modern ego-driven, creativity is the king attitude. People just create whatever the ego wants and then say, oh, God told me to do it. Well, you have to be careful of that also, but never negate that. And that is why what we are talking of, the written tradition of yoga, is very limited. I do not deny it, but it is very limited. There is an oral tradition which is passed on through the living traditions, the living Guru Shishya Parampara. Never forget that, and never ever forget the Sukshma Parampara. That is the subtle aspect. Never forget that. You come to Kamli Swami Madam, you stand there in front of Kamli Swami Samadhi, and you will know what it feels like. You just come to Kamli Swami Madam and you will know what that subtle tradition is. You don't need to hear Kamli Swami say anything to you, okay? You are there, you will feel it, you will experience it. when we do our Om chanting the whole night, when we do the 1008 Om Namah Shivaya on Shivaratri, you experience it, okay? It's not like, oh, Kamali Swami will whisper in your ear. No, it's not all that made up nonsense that people like to. You will feel it in your bones. Your bones, and I tell you, you will. Your bones will resonate with that vibration of the subtle parampara. And then you will connect to something. Again, a very important focus is salatogenesis and wellness. Now, when we talk of wellness, it is the peak. Wellness is not just survival. Again, survival mode is different. Thriving mode is different. There's a big, like I said, deficiency mindset and abundance mindset. There's survival mode, there's thriving mode. You could even call it nourishing mode. Living at the peak of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual potential. No therapy looks at the spiritual potential of the human being the way yoga looks at it. Because as Swami Vivekananda said, every soul is potentially divine. Of course, he was just paraphrasing what the Vedic literature said. Aham Brahmasmi and Tattvamasi. It is more than being illness-free. It is a dynamic balance of body, mind and spirit. And that is why wellness is an active pursuit of activities, choices and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. It is multidimensional. Okay, so now if you are just telling the person, okay, you have this problem, do left nostril breathing 4 times a day, are you actually creating an awareness in that individual? And if you're not creating awareness, is it yoga? Is it yoga chikitsa? If you are not emphasizing individual empowerment, individual agency, if you are not looking at adaptive capacity, every day is going to be different. Every day is different. And in our study of Yantra, we see that. Every day is different. Every month is different. Every hour is different. And so yes, something worked yesterday. It's not going to work today because today is different. You have to adapt. Ammaji used to say it's not survival of the fittest. It is survival of the one who can adapt the best. And this is why we want to go out of that illness paradigm into the wellness paradigm, because the wellness paradigm does not negate disease. But the disease paradigm, illness paradigm negates wellness. Please understand there's a big difference there. Illness paradigm negates wellness, but the wellness paradigm includes illness paradigm and goes beyond it. And that is why salatogenesis, which is a wellness paradigm, is not saying, oh, you cannot have illness. Yes, you have illness. What can I give to reduce your suffering? Remember, dukkha nivrittihi or dukkha nivarana, that is another word. Dukkha nivarana, dukkha nivrittihi is one of the roles of a therapist. You cannot tell the person when they have a fever, this is good for your soul. Telling somebody who has a fever, this is good for your soul, I don't think it's really, it's not really the way forward, okay? Well, fevers are good for your immune system. That's a different aspect to think about. If you have a fever, it means, thank God, your immune system is working well. It is when you have an infection and you don't have a fever that we doctors get worried that you have septicemia. Septicemia is when there is an infection that is throughout your bloodstream and your temperature actually falls because your body is not able to fight it. Now, when you look at this wellness, holistic nature, self-responsibility, it's a continuous process. I was well yesterday. Okay, fine, man, that's history. How are you today? How are you today? And again, adaptive capacity. Life is going to give you a challenge. One day people are going to say, Dr. Ananda, we are going to nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize. Another day they are going to say, we are going to nominate you for the Ig Nobel Prize. You know, there's something called Ig Nobel Prize. It is for discoveries that are totally nonsensical. It's called ignoble. It's a play on the noble. And actually, there are people who go and apply for it because it has its own status. It will be like some weird research you will do and you'll get what is called the ignoble, I-G-N-O-B-L-E, ignoble prize. So one day somebody calls you God, another day somebody calls you the devil. Are you going to be happy when you are called God? And you're going to be sad when somebody calls you a devil? Well, that is where Sthita Pragyata comes in. Samabhava comes in. Not to be too happy when things are going good and not to be too unhappy when things are going bad. That is the ideal state. I'm saying ideal because even I am not yet there. Okay? I can talk about it. I can describe it. But then it's a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. What is the context? And equity and access. Please understand, yoga is one of the most accessible tools we have as Chikitsa. And I don't mean just modifying the asanas and all. There is enough. One of our teachers, I remember, she works in France and she did training in, accessible yoga, and she said the Gitananda system is the most accessible because there is something for everyone. There's something for everyone. And you'll always have something. And I always go back to one of my inspirational mentors, Deshikacharya. And he used to say, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. And when we are in ICUs, when we are in post-op situations in our ISCM, part of this program will be that when you are here for your residential training, we'll take you to the ISCM. You can see how yoga therapy, music therapy are part of a medical setup, integrated in a medical setup. Amazing integration that is happening. And this is where, is it accessible to people? Can you give it in a way that there is something for everyone? Now, it's not that everybody has to stand on the head. Someone asked me the other day about the hatenas. I think it was Sangeeta. She said, about the hatenas, somebody wants to know how to adapt it to this. I said, everybody doesn't have to do the hatenas. Everybody doesn't have to do Kapalabhati. Everybody doesn't have to do Shirsasana. There can always be something. And that is where it is not about finding a protocol. It is about you developing that intuition. That intuition on what you can do to help that person. Very, very important part of it. Again, it is a holistic, human-centered experience. What is it to be well? To be well is to be. To be you. This is why those of you who know me will find that I often say, be blessed and be a blessing. That is what we want to be. We want to be. The biggest dichotomy is when we want to be somebody else. We want to be something else. We want to be someplace else. Just be. That's not easy again. Can you help that person be at ease with themselves? That is what we want to work on. Somebody may have that sense of being through Yoga Nidra. Somebody may have it through Surya Namaskar. Somebody may have it through Kapalabhati. What is the practice that person needs? Somebody may need Pratipaksha Bhavanam. What is the practice? What is the concept? What is the technique? What is the philosophy that will help that person find that Sukhasthana? That is what we are working towards. And this is why, rather than looking at a list of practices, what I would try to do over the 52 weeks is develop principles with which you can work with people. It is the principles that are important. Because if you have the principles, you will find the practice that will suit that individual. But if you think of a list of practices, you'll say, this person cannot do it, what do I do? That is where the struggle comes, because we have put the practices in the forefront rather than the principles. A simple example, somebody is having hypertension. One of the most important aspects there is to restore what is called the barrow reflexes. These are reflexes, pressure reflexes in the neck. Now, for that to happen, the simplest thing is to put them in positions where the head is below the heart. So the principle will be, find practices that the person can do where the head is below the heart. Can they touch the toes? Teach them to touch the toes. Can they lie down with the head below the heart? Teach them to do that. Can they do the headstand? Teach them the headstand. You have to have the principle rather than the exact, it is not, this is the practice for hypertension. What is the principle by which you want to work? If somebody has a digestive issue, you want to work on the samana vayu. That is what you should think about. Samana vayu, you want to harmonize. What are the practices that can harmonize samana vayu? And which of those practices can this individual do? That is how you have to work towards it. Not everybody do Agnisara. And then you have hernias and prolapses from people doing Agnisara. This is where what I would like to see in you is the development of that viveka, the development of that intuitive capacity, the development of that capacity to know what may be suitable for that individual, but then be ready to also find out you may be wrong. And go back and correct yourself, and don't let your goddamn fat, bloated, stupid ego stop you from changing it because you don't want them to know that you were wrong. A good teacher, a good therapist should be willing to tell the person, we tried this, it doesn't seem to be working for you, we would like to try something else, can we do so? We should have that. Not that I am the therapist, you are the patient, so you will do, even if it's not good for you, I told you, so you will do it. No. This is where we have to do. I'll share a lot of stories. I've had a lot of this type of experience. I have found myself very silly at times. Again, yoga instructor and yoga therapist. Today, we are in a very big problem because every yoga teacher thinks they are a yoga therapist. And there is a very, very thin line at times. But in general, philosophy, anatomy, physiology, practice teaching, but then psychology, additional biomedicine, extensive clinical practicum, adaptation of tools to individual needs. See, in a general yoga class, the amount of adaptation is not as much as it may be in a therapeutic setting. Because you may have people coming to you who cannot do anything. In ISCM, when you go to the ward, often you cannot do anything or any of the practices because none of the practices they can do. So then you have to really, really use your creativity. And again, we need to know the pathophysiology of modern medicine. Because not that yoga therapy needs it. Again, please understand, yoga therapy doesn't need you to know pathophysiology of modern medicine. But in order for you to communicate with the modern medical practitioners and the modern medical setting, you need to know it. It is for the sake of communication, for creating a bridge, for creating what today is called traditional complementary integrative medicine. For that, we need to know the language, we need to know the concepts. Because if you as a yoga therapist go to the medical practitioner and says, yeah, your patient samana vayu needs to be balanced, and in the manomaya kosha there is an imbalance that I'm going to set right, not only will you be kicked out of the hospital, but then yoga will never be in that hospital ever again. They'll say, get these weirdos out of here. So you have to talk to them in the terms they understand. The musculoskeletal framework, the cardiovascular framework, the neurological framework, you have to talk in those terms. But your therapy protocol that you have created for that individual is not based on somebody else's diagnosis. And that is why it is not yoga therapy for diabetes. It is not yoga therapy for hypertension. It is yoga therapy for the individual who may have diabetes or hypertension. It is for the individual centric, which is why we are going to be introducing the concept of Prakriti. Prakriti is a very important concept. Vikriti is a very important concept because each of the Prakriti and Vikriti will require adaptations. That is where you start to get it. Understand the prana vayus so that you can understand which prana vayu is not working and you want to balance it. You are creating the therapy protocol based on yoga wisdom, not modern medical knowledge. This is why it's very different. Again, we want to restore balance, resilience through the practices. Try to find the root cause of the imbalance, what is called the heya hetu. And you want to re-establish harmony, samatvam. This is why Swamiji, he said Yoga Chikitsa is the first therapy, the return of the mind that feels separated from the universe. What a beautiful statement he made. We will learn about the kleshas. One of my favorite topics is the klesha because I feel that is one of Patanjali's greatest contributions. We always talk of Patanjali and Ashtanga Yoga. His model of Kriya Yoga and the kleshas is sometimes in my opinion far greater because you can understand the human conundrum, the human predicament through the kleshas. And some beautiful statements. Amma's beautiful statement of Adi becomes Vyadi. The psychic disturbance becomes physical disease. And that is why Amma always stressed on dharmic living. Living dharmically. I shared Amma's teaching for Vijayadasami with the Yoganjali team today. And I asked Amma last night, we had some sing along, and then I said, tomorrow for Vijayadasami I have to give a class. What should I teach all of them? And she started off with her usual be good, which is her one-stop answer for everything these days. And I'm like, that's not enough. I said, okay, be good. Then she said, be right. I'm like, okay, what's the difference between being good and being right? And she said, they are the same. And I'm like, now I'm more confused than ever before. Being right is to be in tune with dharma. Amma and Swamiji defined dharma as righteousness, right useness. Everything you have been given, are you using it as it is meant to be used? You have a human incarnation, are you using it as a human being? You have a body, are you using it as it is meant to be used? You have emotions, are you using them as they are meant to be used? Or are you disusing, misusing and abusing them? That is what that right means. So she said, tell them to be good, be right and be happy. 3 beautiful words Amma gave us for Vijayadasami. Be good, be right and be happy. The goal of Yoga Chikitsa is not just the absence of disease. That is the pathogenic perspective. It is Sukhasthana, again a term that Amma has popularized. Finding that Sukhasthana, a dynamic well-being of body, prana and mind. I'll add Atma also to it because that is what Shushruta tells us. Prasanna Atma Indriya Mana. Prasannata is another aspect of that Sukhasthana. Not just the absence of disease. So these are some ideas I wanted to share today. Not to market this course. But yes, okay, we are doing that in one way. But that is not the goal. The goal is not about marketing a course. I told Nilachal, I said, even if there are 5 people, we are going to run it. And if there are 50 also, we are going to run it. And if there are 500 also, we are going to run it. That doesn't matter. As long as there is one dedicated student, we are going to run it for 52 weeks. That's what I told him. And the good news is there's more than one. Aneka. It's not just eka, it is aneka, which is good. Because again, this is being offered in this format for the first time. And so it is a learning experience for me. It will be a learning experience for Nilachal. It will be a learning experience for all of us. But I think that is always the best part of it. You know, people who were founding members of teams always have this experience. You know, if you have been in one of the first batches of your college or your school, the experiences you had are very different than somebody who was 75th batch of that school or college. It's not the same. I know that from my school days and my college days, because in school I was, I think, the second or third batch, and in college I was second or third batch. So we had a lot of those pioneering real life experiences. That is what you will get in the next 52 weeks. A lot of those experiences as we go on. And we have looked at it as 4 modules: foundations, application, advocacy, and integration, where the history, yogapati, yogic anatomy, Ayurveda comes into foundations. The Adi Vyadi, Yoga Drishti, the therapeutic planning comes into the application. The 12-point diagnosis, one of Swamiji's greatest contributions. We will go into great detail because that is one of my favorite aspects. Salatogenesis, holistic health. And then the lifestyle disorders. Where can you place yoga therapy in the modern healthcare scenario? Lifestyle disorders, stress and pain management are very, very key areas where the integration can happen, because modern medicine doesn't have anything to deal with lifestyle disorders. We don't have anything to deal with stress. We don't have anything to do with deal with pain. The opioid crisis is huge because we don't know what to do. The pharmaceutical approach is bound to fail because at one point you develop tolerance. And then the dose is not enough and you have to keep on increasing. With increasing dose, addiction comes. And that is why it is to go the other way. It's not about increasing supply but reducing demand. That is the whole idea here. And Amma is one of those examples. Seriously. She just continues to blow my mind with that real life example. I say, you know, I've heard of Ramana Maharshi, I've heard of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa going through these physical ailments and not feeling the pain and being able to disconnect from the body. I'm seeing it with Amma day in, day out. And that's where this becomes real. And yes, along with the online program, there will be residential programs. For now, we are looking at March and September so that we can have 10 days where also we will try to make sure you get some good visits to ISCM and therapy practicums, the working on different conditions and what are the principles through which you work on it. Some case study supervision, advanced tools, practical diagnostics, and observed teaching sessions. This is where we would like to know whether people have gathered enough of the teachings to be able to share it appropriately. And yeah, we are also going to be bringing many of the senior members, some of you who are also joined us to learn through this course but have so much to offer. And also a few other experts, because one thing which I know very much in my life is when I know that somebody knows something better than me or can deliver it in a better way, I usually try to bring them in so that we have additional information and then I can also learn. Understanding one's limitation becomes your strength at times. And again, I love to keep in mind the Vedic dictum. That is, Ano Badra Kritavo Yanto Vishwataha, that may noble thoughts to come to us from different directions and not just say that my direction is the only one. it strengthens, it strengthens. We have so much to learn from so many. Yes. And again, ICYR, live holistic. And at the end of this course, the people who complete it will be eligible for the Yoga Chikitsa Sahayaka of IYA, which we have uh, aligned with. And also we are looking at through ISCM what type of accreditation can also be given for training programs that are done. And we are also looking at a few more things that will come out of that, including the YCB aspects of the yoga therapy, yoga assistant yoga therapist, YCB certifications, for which we will also see if we can help people grow into it. So that also will be happening. Going to the next slide. Yeah. So I think we stop the slide share, and we were trying to keep it on time today. This is very difficult for me, but I just wanted to thank all of you for being here, because nice to, if not for anything else, to meet all of you on Vijay Dasami, because Vijay Dasami is such an important day for learning and sharing, and let Devi remove those Shatripus. I highly recommend that Sannidhi video. It's beautifully made, and even my voice sounds very beautiful in it. They did some good work on it. And also, I've shared this morning a very nice audio of chanting the Guru Stotra, which was made the night before last. I felt it would be a good offering for all of us to remember the Gurus, because the Gurus are, without them we are nothing. Okay? Without them we are nothing. So I just wanted to share that. And Nilachal, any points, or if anybody has any questions? I don't think there are too many questions. There are some nice blessings that are there. Yes, Nilachal.
No, sir, we have almost covered all the points that we needed to share here. And the duration and timings are all will be on Saturdays, and mostly on the Saturdays from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And the residentials, as we have mentioned, that it will be on the month of March and September. The dates will be finalized later. And one more thing in this journey where we are learning, it is more of the experiential one. And we have the last semester, like last module, we have more into the understanding. There will be a assignment or that project work that we need to do so that how much we have understood and how better we can learn more. So that will be there in this. And for with each lessons also, with each chapter, we will be having some assignments to be done. So it will be more like giving and taking learning and just doing the assignments little by little. So it will be all self-paced. So that is what I wanted to mention. And apart from that, yeah. So almost we covered all this. Yes.
I think we have Krishna Rao sir. You have a question or something? You can unmute, sir, if you want.
Yeah, and I understood it was a Sunday, sir. Saturday 4:30 to 6:30 is for those who have the 6-day week working. Will there be any hindering? Because I will be also on Saturdays working there. Anyhow, it was first it was informed as Sundays, no weekends like that, or Saturday or Sunday. So,
As of now, it will be Saturday afternoons, 4:30 to 6:30. But
yeah, yeah.
we will be giving the recordings to people, because my Sundays are already occupied with other courses, so we are
Okay,
trying
okay.
not to overlap. So it will be primarily the Saturday afternoons. Now, in case some of the Saturdays I'm not available, we may ask for a session on that Sunday, or we'll do our best so that if I miss one class, we will have a class on one of the other days, which we will do, because we want to make sure we get 52 live sessions that way. And as Nilachal put out, there will also be small assignments and things like that will be there. So we want to make sure that people understand what they are doing, and lot of like the model we did with the team 52 of yoga step by step. There will be a lot of videos shared. There will be a lot of PPTs shared. There will be a lot of articles shared to embellish whatever topic is being covered. So we want to make sure that there's going to be a good embellishment, and we'll also, for the registered participants, be providing the PDFs of the PPTs we are making. So you are going to have lot of material for sure. What you'll do with it is then up to you, but we are a lot of good work coming. And as I said, there's going to be an organic growth. There will be an organic growth because first time a course of this type is being offered in this medium, and so there will be organic growth. And as students have issues with things, as questions come up, we'll fill it up and we'll take it forward. So yes. The question from Alok ji was about, if people cannot attend the residentials, what will they miss? First of all, I would highly recommend attending the residentials, because there's nothing like coming to the ashram, being here for 10 days, experiencing the whole feel of what's going on. So that is there. You would still get a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, but as much as possible, I would highly recommend people do try to get this residential training. Residential training, we will be working out the cost factors. We'll let you know. Nilachal and I are trying to make sure that it is kept at a way that most people can attend. We are working on that. Yeah, Nilachal said is at least one residential is a must. I think there's nothing like really getting the feel of it, and also it gives us the confidence. You have to understand that at the end of it, we would like to have the confidence that tomorrow, if somebody says, I am in this town or this city or this country, and is there somebody you would recommend? We would like to be recommending you. We are building a team. And again, as I said, a lot of new projects are coming up, and we need people in different cities, in different places, who can impart in this type of structure that we are developing. So I want to have people who I can say, yes, that is a person I would recommend. And for that, if you are here in person, we get to know you. Otherwise, it's a bit tough. We have a lot of plans coming up, and we just want you all to be ready. That's the message. Okay, I think it's a good place to stop for this, Nilachal. For those who
Yes.
have any doubts, you can be in touch with Nilachal. Officially on the Saturday, the 4th, will be the first session, and we are going to take it up and go from there as we go. So
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And like here, Emma mentioned like her stay at the ashram was like invaluable experience with many transferable skills and things. And she also had the experience of the ISCM where she visited and had a yoga chikitsa done. She experienced that. So thank you for sharing that, Emma. And any queries, any questions, please, you have my email ID. We are in the group. So please feel free to reach and ask whatever questions you have. And again, thank you for being today here with in this auspicious day of Vijayadashmi. And we'll close with the Shanti Mantra. Om. लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you again. Thank you all for joining today. Namaste and pranam.
Be blessed.